Hey, guys and gals. Welcome back to the garage and your daily dose of Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. My name is Mistermoose, and today we're working on part 2 of our Challenger build. If you missed yesterday's episode, we've got this barn find, 1970s era Dodge Challenger RT that we picked up, and yesterday we took the engine and transmission out of it, rebuilt the suspension on it, put some new rubber for the tires, and at this point we are ready to put a little power back in this beast. So our muscle is going to be this monster. It is Dodge's 1970s era 440 Magnum. Oh, what a massive motor this was. V8 with trip carbs on the top of it. Yeah, it's got a 6-pack on it. 390 brake horsepower is what this motor would have put out, and it is just incredible. So that is what we're going to be building today. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, make sure you smack that like button for me, leave a comment down below, share the video with your friends, of course, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. I try to do new content for you guys each and every day. Now, with that out of the way, we'll get started with this. And before we tear into the motor, I want to take a moment just to walk around the motor and just observe some of the detail that is in this, because, you know, for all the fun we poke of some of the motors in the game and the little corners they cut, and, you know, the fact that they use the same V8 overhead valve motor for every single variant of car that is in the game, this one, they get it right on. So, you know, where the Corvette has a front mounted distributor, and everybody keeps saying, haha, it's got a Ford motor in a Corvette, that's funny. Again, those are mimics of a car that isn't licensed, right? So they don't have to get it right on that. So they can take some leeway with it. But on this, since it is a licensed DLC for Dodge, they've got the motor pretty straight up. I like it. They've done a good job with it. They could have gone a little bit more into detail, of course, with the bolt patterns and things, but if we look at things like, look at the heads on here. It's got that slim head design with the square ports on it instead of a rounded port. It's got that beveled edge on it where the spark plugs go in. Then as we travel around to the front of the engine, it's got the front mounted oil filter on it. Over here on the water pump, they've actually modeled in the thermostat housing for it. The distributor's in the right place, and look, it's even 45 degrees offset like Dodge did it in the 70s. When it comes to your alternator, you got mounting brackets here for the alternator. Even the power steering pump has that adjustment arm in the back of it so that you could tension out your belt. That's nice. The water pump on it isn't flush mounted to the motor. It's actually hung off the front and off, like a Dodge would have been. What else? It's got a fuel pump modeled on it, even though we can't take it off of there. It's modeled. And then even this, you got a 6-pack of carburetors, and look, there's a linkage in between all 3 carburetors. So the fact that they've taken the time to get some of the modeling right on this, credit is deserved where credit is due. So I think, for all the fun we make fun of it, I thought I'd take the time to point out a little bit of those details. Even this air filter here has the base of it. It's got that modded lip on there, or a molded lip on it. Now, in a lot of the Dodges that came out, there would have been an air dam underneath here, or whatever you want to call it, diaphragm, whatever, air dam, that the air coming in through these vents would have been redirected into it, and that would have sort of hugged this air filter assembly, and better, more efficiently ducted the air into the car. So some of them had them, not all of them had them, but some of them did have them. So the fact that they've even got that lip on there on that base is pretty cool. I like that. So it's very cool. Very cool. Some of them had scoops on it and everything. Now, one thing that's missing is I wish it had the decal for this motor on the top of it, because this particular 440 would have had the numerals 440 here, and then across here, kind of, up through here, it would have said 6-pack. And because Dodge was really proud of this motor and their 6-pack carburetor on their aluminum intake manifold. It was something special back in the day. it and the 420 Hemi. Those are like two of the more iconic motors of the era. So it's pretty cool. So anyways, let's tear into it. Now we do need to take some note of the parts that are coming off of here, because this engine is going to be a little bit different than anything we built, because it's got a lot of variants to the parts that are going to come off of here. Like if you look at the end of every single part name, it's going to have a letter, and it's going to be like an E or a C or a D or an F or something like that, you know. That gives you a variant from all the other parts in the game. So we have to make sure that we pay attention to what parts come off of here, because if we don't repair them and we have to replace them, then we're gonna have to get the right part, the right variant of part to go on. So there may be a V8 overhead cam for a V8 overhead valve engine, but there may also be a D or a C or something like that we have to get. So let's go ahead and get these out of here, get the intake manifold off of it. What is this? Oh, look at there. A properly modeled engine block. Thank you, Dodge. So you guys have heard me say this many a times when I've been doing these videos on the V8 overhead valves. This is not what an engine block looks like. This is what an engine block should look like. It's open. It's got a huge cavity here. The cavity's got drain slots for the oil cut into it. If it's a flat head like this is, or a flat block like this is, it'll have them down the center. Whereas if it's sort of got a crown to it, like this, you know, if it's got a crown to it, they'll be on the sides over here, and you'll have just your drain slots for the oil to drain down into the cam and down into the crankshaft, back eventually to the sump, where your oil pump would be mounted. God, if this has an oil pump in it, I'll just scream. But yeah, even the fact that it's got it opened up so you can see the push rods here. This is where your hydraulic valve lifters would be seated for your camshaft. So very nice. They've actually modeled that into there. 2 more points for it. -2 points for the fact that the head covers are taken off with only 4 bolts, and that they're the size of the bolts that hold the heads on. I mean, they should be much smaller. Much, much smaller. I mean, like I said, not everything's perfect in the game, but the fact that they changed it up a little bit on the motor is kind of nice. Kind of nice. All right, we can go ahead and take the plugs out of here. Again, we're tearing down. It doesn't really matter what direction you go in tearing down, as long as, you know, you take things off in somewhat of a realistic manner. We can pull that off of there. Let's come over here. We'll get this head cover off. So yeah, see, this is a V8 overhead valve D engine head cover and D rocker arms, but it could be like an F head cover. No, it's a D head cover. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, there's like D, F, C, all kinds of different variants of parts. So you got a D head cover, but F rods. So we do have to pay attention to some of that stuff. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm having a good day. Playing a little car mechanic. Enjoying myself a little bit here. Let's get this belt off. Water pump pulley's off. Crankshaft pulley come off. Take off the power steering pump. And while we're at it, we'll pull the oil filter. See that arm I was talking about? If you've ever built one of these, you know, worked on a car, had to replace your fan belt or whatever, you know, that you've got to, you know, loosen up that bolt on the back and pull that all, you know, pull that power steering pump out. Or usually your alternator is an adjustment on if you've got, you know, one side of it, the power steering, maybe is the adjustment on the other side of it. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Modern cars have that serpentine belt and the brake tensioner, so you don't really have to do it like you did on the older models, where you had to put a screwdriver in the lead in between, you know, the alternator and the engine block, and get a little leverage on it so you get some tension on that belt. All right. Let's see, we got everything out of there. So we take the cam out, which the cam is a C variant. I wish I could take the oil, the fuel pump off of this. That would be cool. Again, like I said, they went through and they modeled some cool stuff onto it, or a little more detail onto it. Not necessarily so much more cool stuff, but it's just a shame that they don't put it in there so that you can actually work with it. Yesterday in the video, I talked about, you know, an idea about how they could enhance the game a little bit more with like a third-party vendor for paint and body early in the game, so that you could do paint and body, but it came at a price. And I think that would be cool. But, you know, the next iteration of the game, more than stuff like that, I wish they would just put more detail into the motors. That's where I think would make this game shine. It seems like every day somebody sends me an email that says, you know, what you really ought to play is My Summer Car. It's got much more detail into it. Yeah, I know it does. But it also comes with a whole bunch of stupid other stuff that I got to do. But, you know, if you could put that kind of detail into this game would be phenomenal. You know, a car building game without all this stupid stuff like, oh, you need to go get drunk. Today you need to go make some money so you can work on your car, so you got to go pump out somebody's, you know, septic tank. And by the way, on the way there, let's get drunk. No, that's not my idea of a video game. I just want a straight building game. Just want to work on cars. Give me the detail that you have into that game, but without all the hokiness and all the, you know, immature stuff that you got to do. All right, well, I heard quite a few parts get torn up. Now, as I was looking, a lot of stuff was like 17% condition. It really wasn't a very good motor to begin with. Let's see what we lost. Air filter, we knew we were going to have to replace that, but the base, the cover, yeah, okay, they'll deteriorate over time if it was sitting in a barn and not getting sort of neglected. Alternator I6B is what alternator we need for this. It's just not a straight alternator, so keep that in mind. This I don't agree with. This is just metal. It's, you know, it's not a wear and tear part. It shouldn't be in such, I don't know, deteriorated neglect that we'd have to replace it. It should just be something you hit with a wire brush or even sandblast it, and then you just powder coat it or paint it and put it back on the car. So I don't really agree with that. But anyways, generic cam gear for a V8 overhead valve. We're going to need that. We're going to need a camshaft for a C variant. Hang on, I got a cough. I may or may not have edited that out, but y'all didn't want to hear it. All right, so carburetors, all three of them are good. That's good stuff, but there are, just so you notice, there's two variants. There's a B and a C, and the B has the linkage on it. The C sits on either side of it. We need two clips. Crankshaft is good. All the bearings are good. That is great. A generic V8 overhead valve pulley is what we're going to need to go with that crankshaft. Engine block is good. The heads are good. Look at this. There's two different heads for this motor. Two different brands of heads and two different heads. I guess there's a left and a right head for this particular motor. So if you're building this, you need to take note of that. There's two different engine head covers, and we apparently need the A version D variant. We need a fuel filter. We need a distributor cap. Button's good, but we do need wires as well. Oil filter, of course, piston rings and pistons we need. Power steering pump we're gonna not need. That's good stuff. We need both sets of rocker arms. Rod caps. looks like we got 5 good ones, so we need 3 more. We need a C variant serpentine belt A and B. Let's see, spark plugs. Yeah, we know we need those. We need an F variant timing chain cover for a V8 overhead valve. The timing chain cover is a C variant, but we don't need it. That's good. And then we need a lot of push rods. Now, again, the push rods. Normally on a V8, we would use just the generic valve push rod. But for this particular motor, we need the V8 overhead valve F. And then our water pump is gone, and our water pump pulley we need. So, luckily, I probably have a lot of these parts over in the warehouse, because I have picked a lot of orange parts out of the junkyard over time. So if we go over here and do a search, since there are so many variants, I'm just going to search V8 overhead valve, and we'll see what we come up with. All right, so there's a B. We needed an A, right? Carburetor, we're good. We do need an oil pan, because I did notice we didn't have an oil pan in disassembly, so that'll be good. The gearbox we don't need. Water pump we do need. We don't need the heads, but good news is we would have had them. Timing chain cover, seems like we had that. I did need this A variant, so that's good. Exhaust manifold, we're gonna need that because there were no exhaust manifolds on this card. Again, lots of timing chain covers. I'm looking for a camshaft if we happen to have one. I don't see one. I just see generics. You know what? We probably ought to grab a radiator fan. I don't think there's a variant of that, so let's grab one just in case we need one. Camshaft overhead valve. We picked up a couple of parts. Nothing major though, but we did pick up a few that will help us out. The oil pan and we've got that now. We got all the covers that we need. Still need an exhaust manifold and the rest of all this junk. All right, let's go into the store, and we'll see if we can't whiz through these parts pretty quick and get what we need. Need one of those. I need one of those. One of them. One of those. One of those. One of these. C variant of that. Nope. 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 Yes. Nope, nope, nope. We're good on that. We do need that right there. Nope, 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 nope. Yes. Let's see. We're good on all that. Need one of those, and one of them right there. Intake manifolds we are good on. We do need that. We found an oil thing. We need 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing here. Repeat the process. Bing. Like I said, we picked up the radiator fan, and I'm pretty sure there's no variant of it, so we're good there. 2 of these, 3 of those. We don't need any of that. Serpentine belt C is right there, and right there, and we need 8 of these. We're moving through here pretty quick. Let's just hope we don't miss something. Timing chain. There's an F variant that we need. That we don't need. Okay, we need 16 of these guys. There we go. And water pump we have. We just need the pulley. That should be it. Should be ready to build. So, get over here. Put the block back in place. And we'll come over here and we'll start putting our crankshaft in. But yeah, you know, we talk about details of the motor. Like, you know, I really would like to see it go a step further so that you're not just putting these bearing caps in, you know. Actually put the bearings into the block, snap them into place. Then you could do the whole thing just like you do with the rings on the camshafts. You got to put the bearings into the cap before you put the cap on. You know, and take the time to put a little more detail into the motors. Put the main bearings in here. There's a difference. Like, these are all interchangeable. You can put all 3 of these in. But when it comes to your main bearing caps, they're much wider. They've got a groove in them on the side so that oil can't get through them. On the inside of them, they have a little rubber seal on them. You know, and it's just like, it's there to keep the engine from leaking oil. And I think that's something that ought to be modeled into the game. It's That's just the least they ought to be doing. All right, so push pistons in. Bing, bing, boom. Push this one in. Bing, bing, boom. So get all those into place, and then we'll snug them up. There's no items to work with. What are you talking about? There's no items to work with. How in the world? What are we talking about? There's no item to work with. The flywheel? Is that maybe what it was trying to grab? I don't know. Oh my, wait. Yeah, I got plenty of pistons. Alright, so we'll get all these tightened up. There was no oil pump. It's so disappointing. If it had an oil pump in it, I'd have fell out of my chair. Alright, so we rotate that around. Get back over here, and we'll continue to put those in. Go. And one more. There we go. Get around to the back side. And we'll go ahead and start these guys. All right, so put the oil pan on. And again, like more than 4 bolts make up an oil pan, but yeah, gasket kits. How cool would it be to have to set your gaskets in place, you know? So you just did your oil pan. When you come up here, if you want to put the heads on next, you still have to put your head gaskets into place. All that stuff would be cool. We're gonna go ahead and put the camshaft in next. Get that in, put the gear on it. Go ahead and set our timing by getting the cam lined up with the crankshaft. That's good. Then we'll come over here and put our heads on. And I'll go ahead and get the other one put on as well. Throw our hydraulic valve lifters into place, get all that, and then we can come in here and then put our push rods in. Come on now. There we go. And we'll go ahead and do the other side too first because, well, that's just the way I roll. If I had a handful of these, I wouldn't stop with, oh, well, I got that side done, I'm done. Nope, I'm gonna lace all these up first. And then the next thing I do is come behind it with an oil can and squirt some oil down into all of these. These are, they're not solid. They got a channel down the center of them for oil to flow through. All right, here we go. That is in place. And then again, I wouldn't put the valve covers on until I'd done this side, because once they're in place, you still got to go through and get your clearances right, make sure everything is cool. You'd be rotating the engine, still maintaining to make sure the engine was free. Then once all that stuff is on, you could, you know, maybe put the heads on. I mean, the head covers on. Wow, they really cut back on the number of bolts you put in on this motor, though, because if you remember, at least on the V8 overhead valve engine, like, there's actually somewhat of a bolt pattern that you can do on it, because it goes all the way around. You know, I think it has 8 bolts that you do on it, and where this one only had 4, so it has at least 6 on them. They really chintz with the bolts on this. So for all the positive points I gave out earlier, there's quite a few negatives with that side of it as far as the bolt patterns. You know, come on, do it right. Get all the bolt patterns right. All right, so let's mount this guy in so that we can hang our alternator over here. Oh, I didn't buy the alternator. Ah ha ha. I got everything but the alternator. Gosh. I feel like a failure now. Oh, it happens. Anyways, so let's get that in place. Alternator I6B. Come on, go all the way to the top. Buy that. That back in there. There we go. All right, let's get the distributor on. Button. Cap. And we'll go ahead and put the clips on the sides of it. I like doing it this way before I do the spark plugs because the wires don't show up immediately as soon as you set the cap in place. That way you can get to the clips without the wire thing being in the way. If you put the spark plugs in first, the wire will immediately show up before the as soon as you set the cap in place. I don't like that. That gets in my way a little bit. All right. So that's that side of it, and then we'll hang these on this side of it. Probably should put the exhaust manifolds in place first, but because you wouldn't want the exhaust manifold accidentally slipping down and breaking off one of the spark plugs, so I probably should have put those on first. I didn't really think about it. But then I'm not that big of a klutz that I would drop the exhaust manifold. But accidents do happen. I mean, nice. Starting to come together. All right, put the belts on the front. And then we put the carburetors in. So we'll go put that one. And we'll put that one on. Yeah, so cool that they got the linkage on that. It would be cooler if you actually had to put the linkage on it, but yeah, it's still cool. All right, so let's go ahead and pull that motor, put it in our back pocket. And we'll go ahead and get our hoist. Put that into place. Put that out of the way. And then we'll finish up with the last little pieces that need to go on to it. Put our air filter on, put the air filter in, and put the top on there. Nice. So there is no, where's the fan at? Oh, okay, there is a fan assembly. I was about to say, where's the fan at? There are no items to work with. What is that? Radiator fan B. Ah. So there is a variant that we actually needed. Surprise! All right, so we grab that fan. There we go. Alright, that should be everything for the motor done, other than setting some oil in it, which I guess I could go ahead and do, since I've already put the oil filter on it, and that's going to be over on this side. So we'll give it a little chug-a-lug here, put a little oil in it. And then the last thing that we really need to do is put in the transmission, put the drive shaft in, and do the exhaust. So we'll button up the underside. Get her up in the air so we can get underneath it. While we do that, we'll go ahead and grab our gearbox assemblies that we need. We need this, this, and this. And then we can look at the exhaust parts that we need. I think I still have front exhaust pipe V8 OHVB. And then we had the front exhaust section VH OHD. So front exhaust pipe and front exhaust section. So confusing, all the little parts. Two middle mufflers, and then I think the back of it is the rear muffler for the Dodge. All right, so two middle mufflers, two Dodge mufflers, a front exhaust, two front exhaust pipe VOHVBs, and two VHDs. All right. See, I've already forgot all that. All right, I think I needed two of these, right? Then front exhaust sections. And this was the front exhaust section was the overhead valve D's. I needed two of those. Two middle mufflers. And then the Dodge pieces are right here. All right. Cargo up. All right, so let's get our flywheel on, and then our clutch plate, our pressure plate, put our release bearing in, and we're gonna put the starter on it while I'm right here. Spin it around and see if we can get the drive shaft. There we go. Cool. All right, so now we can put the exhaust pipe sections in. And the last piece here. And I think that's it. I think at this point it's body work and we're done. Nice. All right, so let's move it over here real quick. And I want to see if it runs. What did we forget? All right, I have apparently forgotten something. Huh. Global parts condition. What am I missing here? Fuel filter. I got it. I just didn't put it in. There it is, hidden right there in the back pan. All right, now it should start. Aha! Sweet. That's good news. All right, let's start taking the body panels off of it. You have to move it out here to start it because on the lift there, you can't access the inside of the car. At least I don't think you can. I probably ought to move the car back over to the lift. Let's move it back over to the lift. I mean, because technically I'd want to be able to lift it up to get to some of these body panels to get all the shims, all the hangers and everything in place. Anything else down here that needs to come off? They're here. I don't see anything. And there's this one little window here that I didn't grab. All right. Get the welder. Send that over. And send this over. All right, so as the car sits right now, it's $54,000. We started out at like 28. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Now it is at 55,000, and with that $100 added into it, it now sits at 56,000. All right, let's go tap on some stuff here. See what we can repair up. Ooh, I think we might have gotten all the panels fixed. I think everything might go back on it now. All we have to do is buy glass and tail lights and the headlight stuff, which is cool. Bumper's good. Door is good. Mirror, good. Trunk is good. Rear bumper is good. This door is good. And that fender is good. How about that? We don't have to buy any body panels. I'm liking that. We just got to buy glass and the headlights, tail lights, and tags. All right, so to the body spot, and we'll get our glass and our other little things. All right, so Challenger glass. We need this one, this one, this one, this one, this. All right. Then I'm going to go down here. This should all have specific parts for it. So we get that and that and that, and then wheel. Not well. Wheel. The wheel. And there should be a Challenger wheel, I'm thinking. Dodge Charger wheel. There's no specific Challenger wheel. Well, we'll put the same one as the Charger in there. Maybe they only used one. And then I need plates. Let's go ahead and get all this at one time, so we don't have to keep coming back in here. And there we go. All right, let's start putting everything back in place. Oh, I was gonna put custom plates on this. I forgot. Oh well. Oh, I didn't even need a new plate. I had a couple of them. I was going to put a personal plate on it. Something like bad 440 or something like that. Oh, well. Completely forgot about it. Come on. Wait, did I not take that off? Oh, well, let's put that back on. All right, center to paint. Come on, what? Sometimes you move an inch and it knocks you out of assembly mode. Sometimes you move an inch and it, you know, a mile and it won't move you out of assembly mode. And then you can't get the icon to move the car somewhere. What color are we gonna paint this? I almost like the color it is now. It looks weird though when you get it in here. It looks like it's got, you know, it looks like it's gold. But I almost like the color it is now. It's a color that we haven't done either, you know. Let's look at this. Let's set the current. Let's look at the liveries on this because there are several of them. That one doesn't do anything. Oh wait, did that put? It looks like it put some pinstriping on it. Hard to see. Yeah, it's got a pinstripe. It's got that stripe on the back of it. Charger 2. Oh, I like that part of it. I like the hood there. That's nice. Charger 3. Can't really tell what it did. I don't like the lighting in here. The lighting messes with the car. It doesn't look right. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. I remember that paint style. I remember that paint on a car. Painted orange with that. Oh, that's nice too. I like that. See, these are decent paint liveries. I like that. They've done some good job with it. Not sure what these liveries are. They don't actually. I mean, what is Charger livery of white? I mean, just it doesn't make any sense when it says it, but there's nothing there. Charger livery black. That doesn't make any sense, but I do like. Let's see. Set current color. Charger livery 3, I think was, no, or was it 4? Yeah, I sort of like that one. And then, I mean, that just reminds me of a 1970s paint style there. And if it was like an orange or something. And I don't know what color I'm actually getting because it looks so weird. It, you know. Let's see how that looks when we actually put it out in the shop. Yeah, but yeah, the lights in here make it look so much different than it actually looks when you get it out here. Oh, that looks good. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know about y'all, but I think that's a sexy car. With that orange and black on it. Oh yeah. I'd buy that. I would buy that, definitely. Let's take it for a spin. Let's see what she does. We're going to the airport with it, right? Well, apparently I didn't miss any parts on it. That's good news. Normally, you know, we'd go to hit that and say like, well, you're still missing a bushing. Well, technically, if I hadn't have found the fuel pump already, it probably would have told me I was still missing the fuel pump. Ah, the engine sounds horrible. It sounds like that supercharged V8. Yeah, it doesn't sound right. It is... I don't know. It sounds like when they recorded the sound, they over distorted it. Kept it out of the wall. Nice. Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty good looking car. I like it. All right, let's take it to the garage and we'll look at the final tally on build total on it and see what we made. Again, we got it for $28,800, and well, actually, we paid like $26,000 or $27,000 for it in a barn find. It was worth $28,800 and something when we started out with it. So the final build total on it was probably going to be around $70,000, something like that. Let's see what we end up with here. If I can actually get the car selected. $69,666 is what we ended up with on it. So we made about 40 grand. Probably less than that in parts, you know, but pretty good. I liked it. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like button for me, and go ahead and share it with your friends. Comment down below, and of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I try to do new content each and every day. Next project is going to be this guy. We'll take a chance at it, build it out. The Caster Earthquake. So that'll be our next thing that we're going to build out. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the Challenger build. If you still want the Charger build, we'll wait a little bit and then we'll do the Charger. I've got one upstairs and I can build it out, but I just I don't know. Like I said, I already feel like I've done the Charger because we did the Daytona. And I've already done a Charger too, so. But that doesn't mean I won't build another one. But I'm trying to mix it up a little bit and have a little variety in the stuff that we build. So, and that front end looks good. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take it easy. I do hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow, and stay safe. God bless you. Bye-bye.